What's up, y'all? Erroneous here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you're having a great day or a great evening wherever you are in the world. Today I'm going to be going over the Fragment event calendar for ISHIYAMA the Immovable. Yes, I am going for this Fragment Fusion champion. And are you? Are you going for this guy? Well, let's get into this. Let's take a look at the calendar and let's see what we can do. All right, so we've got ISHIYAMA the Immovable right in front of you here. We've got the calendar for this event. So I want to go over this calendar and kind of my game plan on what I'm going to try to do with my resources for this fusion, because I will be going for him. It's an HP-based nuker, so I really like HP-based nuking champions. Why? Because they can survive a lot longer than your typical attack-based or even, at most times, defense-based nukers. And so you guys know that I utilize Samson the Masher a lot just because he's my strongest HP nuker on my account right now, and I don't have Narcissus or, Nias the Mythical or even Taras. So if I had them, of course, I would use them. I just don't have them. So Samson is very, very helpful on my account. Now, the better thing about HP nukers is when they have a unique kit. So Samson has a very unique kit where he counterattacks pretty much every single time he gets attacked, and he can counterattack on weak hits as well. It's just in his kit. He can remove increased defense from enemies before doing a big slam, and as well as placing stuns from his A1. So when he counterattacks so often, he's placing stuns quite frequently. So, and he has a decent hitting A1. So with ISHIYAMA, he also has a somewhat unique kit, not as unique as Samson. So this guy is not going to be replacing my Samson by any means. I think I would definitely use him as a pairing with Samson or other HP nukers, just because he can do fears as well as decreased crit rate, decreased crit damage, which is not as useful in Arena. It's more useful in other areas of PvE in the game, I would say. I will not pair him with Samson as often in, like, Chimera, for example. I'll try him out in Chimera once I get him, but I don't think he's going to be, like, the be-all, end-all. He's definitely going to be helpful for most players, though, especially if you're just starting out in the game. Early, mid-game, and some late game as well. He's going to beat some of those trials down for you. I have a couple of ideas of how I'm going to build him already in my head. So anyways, without further ado, the Fragment calendar, May 5th, which is Monday. And at the time of this recording, it is Tuesday, really early morning because I couldn't sleep last night very well. It is 4:42 in the morning right now. So Tuesday right now, 4:42 in the morning, we got Dragon Tournament going on. And we also have clan versus clan starting. So at the time of this recording, it's starting in 7 minutes for me. So for you guys as well. But hopefully you guys do well in clan versus clan. It's personal rewards as well. So it's coinciding with the Dragon Tournament. The champion training is also going to be coinciding with it. So right now, champ training is going. Let me go ahead and just showcase to you the champ training. So Dragon Tournament, we have 2 days left. Classic Arena Takedown, that is for the Titan event. If you are going to, actually no, it's not for the Titan event. So if you are pushing though, I do recommend it because these points, Plarium points, are really nice if you're trying to go for Saoirse the Seared. But honestly, she's not like insane. By the time I get her, she's not even going to be that great on my account anyways. But she will be very strong for hard mode faction wars. So yeah, so we do have that going on for a tournament. And so dragons, and then the event is champion training. And is this event looking fairly decent? Let's take a quick peek. So 6,100 points for the 10 fragments is not bad, actually. This is pretty doable for most players. This shouldn't be too hard, especially if you've saved resources. If you're not good at saving and you have no patience, then of course, I wouldn't even recommend for you to do fusions at all. But yeah, this guy should be fairly easy. 3 days to get it done is not too bad either. I didn't really play much yesterday, so I didn't really get much of champ training done. But for the Dragon Tournament, I have about 700 points already, or 800 points. So not too bad. With 2 days left of that, it's not bad. And then in terms of what's coming up next, we do have Ice Golem on May 8th. So I will be going for the Ice Golem tournament, of course, and then Dungeon Divers. So you can skip a Dungeon Divers if you want. We do have 1, 2, and 3 dungeons. So 1 Dungeon Divers here. I'm just going to circle that. So this is 1. That's 5 points for Dungeon Divers. We've got 2. So the first Dungeon Divers starts on May 6th. The second one starts on May 10th, which coincides with Ice Golem, as well as ending off with Spider. Get the tail end of Spider. The tail end of Dungeon Divers when Spider starts. So that's another 5 points. I personally would go for it the second Dungeon Divers, because Spider Tournament, you're going to be able to not only, it's probably one of the easier dungeons to get a solo champion in there other than Dragon Tournament. So actually it might be Dragon that you might want to go for Dungeon Divers potentially. However, I do like going for Spider Dungeon Divers. I don't recommend going for the Dungeon Divers during Fire Night, only because it's harder to get a solo champ for Fire Night as compared to Dragon and the Spider Tournament. So personally for me, I could make a solo Fire Night champ, but it just takes so long as well. So, and that would be doing like stage 15 or 20. And then, personally, I wouldn't do Fire Night solo unless you can do at least stage 20. But you can do it if you want to farm food. So if you're earlier game, then yeah, go for it, because you're going to conserve resources and level up champs at the same time. So the third Dungeon Divers, I'm probably going to skip this one. So that's 5 points right off the bat. It is behind me, so you can't see it all that well, but I want to make sure you guys can actually see everything. So let me just move myself up a little bit here, move myself over so you can see everything a little bit better on the calendar. So for me, that's 5 points out, right? Out the gate. And then in terms of Summon Rush versus the Champ Chase, if you're wanting to conserve as much resources as possible. So I do see a Summon Rush here. I don't actually see the Champ Chase, which is interesting. Is there? Oh, yep, it's at the end. So we've got a Summon Rush, which starts on May 9th. And then we have Champ Chase, which starts on May 16th. Now, you can get up to 130 points here, which is great and all. The events are going to give you 55 points. Leaderboards, of course, are going to give you 20 points. I don't bank on leaderboard points. That's 20 points. So I just take that out, because if you're free to play, unless you have an insane amount of resources saved, do not bank on tournament leaderboards getting first place, okay? It's probably not going to happen unless you're a little bit of a spender or you just have a ridiculous amount of stockpiled resources. So I always take that out. So you're going to be able to get 110 points total. So 10 of those points you can forego, or if you're trying to get some fragments, extra fragments, you put those extra fragments into the High Mother mod chest, so you can go for High Mother mod potentially. She does take forever to get, by the way. But if you don't want to go for this guy at all, say you want to push some fragments, because a lot of these tournaments and events are going to coincide with decent rewards anyways. So there's going to be a lot of players in the community that are just going to go for this guy's fragments to throw into High Mother mod, which is totally fine, by the way. If you want to do it that way, that's up to you. But personally, I'm going to go for this champion because I like to collect different champs, especially champs that I like personally. And I do like this guy. I know he's not insane. He's not. He's probably slightly above average, maybe above average. I would give him like a B, maybe a B plus of a rating. And he's definitely not S tier or A tier, in my opinion. I think he's a solid B plus, because he's very good in PvE. He is very good in PvP, early and mid game, and some late game. I don't think he's going to be insane in end game, but the reason why he could be decent is because of the unkillable, or rather block damage, that he places on himself when he kills an enemy. So if you put him with Lightning Cage, he actually might be fairly decent with protecting that buff, so he can keep going. The downside is people like Rotos could one-shot him through the block damage because of his A3, and then people that ignore block damage in general, like Baron, people that ignore block damage like Georgid in the end game, they're just going to absolutely mollywop this guy. So for me, I think I'm still going to utilize him. I still also want to utilize him in Chimera just to see if I can get some trials done with him, like more trials for more damage over time, which would be really fun. I do wish they gave him a little bit more in his kit, like just give him an extra turn. That's all they needed to do, and he would have been way better. If they just gave him an extra turn, he would have been so much better, because then he can do one AoE, then he can do a big hit, you know. So that's what I personally wish they did for him, but it is what it is. So now, in terms of Classic Arena, everybody should be able to get this done. This is so simple. Classic Arena is one of the most simplest things you can possibly do. Anybody can do it with their eyes closed. Gear enhancement, most players should be able to do this no problem to get at least the fragments. You don't need to beat and clear gear enhancement. Just get the fragments and be done. Champ training should be easy for everybody. You should be doing that with your eyes closed. And then Spider Tournament should be easy. Yeah, so the only real issues are Dungeon Divers and Champ Chase versus Summon Rush. So which one should you do? Personally, I always end up determining, okay, well, the Champ Chase, you can get an extra 10 if you hit the top of the leaderboards, but I wouldn't bank on it. So you kind of want to look at Summon Rush like, okay, are they going to put 10 points at the beginning or 10 points at the end? And you never really know until it comes out. I wish they told us that to begin with, so that way you can prep yourself even further so you know which event to go for. But typically they put the 10 points after the 5 points, which is kind of frustrating. So more than likely you don't want to skip either of these events. They've been doing it recently where you have to pull the shards. So if you don't have shards, this is where most people fail. It's either shards or not enough gems for energy to complete Dungeon Divers. And that's why if you're smart and conserve your resources ahead of time, you'll be good to go for most fusions, especially when they give you every other day a free energy refill that you can simply save right here in your inbox. So if you save these energy refills every single day for like a week or two leading into the next fusion, you're gonna have between 5, maybe even 10 energy refills or more possibly that you can utilize for these fusions. Okay, I'm not good at it. I'll be completely honest. I'm not good at saving these energy refills because I like to do champ training, getting more silver, other things in the game because I'm bored, right? And I want to keep playing the game, you know, that's just because I love the game. But yeah, most players, if they're really good at conserving resources, will have tons and tons of energy stockpiled. But yeah, in the end, I think the hardest part of this is going to be the Dungeon Divers event. I would recommend skipping 2 Dungeon Divers events, okay, if you just want to get the fusion and that's it, and you don't care about the High Mother mod chests. That's probably what I'm going to do because I want to conserve some resources going into the future fusion, unless I decide to just go for it because I have some resources stockpiled. I do have 1,060 gems going into this fusion. I have about 7 million saved up silver, which is not a lot, but I should be pretty good. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Good luck if you are going for ISHIYAMA the Immovable. I am going for him. And check out my previous video that I just posted about a giveaway. Leave your code in that video and your stats as well. So check it out. And I'll see you on the video soon. Take care.